course, since it's about a courtesan named Violet. And what's a courtesan's life? They don't just read books, right? So
they don't play Chinese checkers.
Yeah, they don't do that. So there's a lot of sex in this book. There's a lot of it, and a lot of you know.
Well, it's given, most of it is given in a very handy instructional manual called Etiquette for Beauties of the Boudoir. And it's Magic-Gord, the former courtesan, an older courtesan, older meaning she's in her 30s now, well, she's light about her age. But she's telling her what she must do. And part of it is the art of illusion, that you are taking a man into his higher self, his illusion of who he is as this young man who had high ideas of who he would become. And you have to take him to a state of sentimentality about himself, a nostalgia for the old part of himself. And if you can do that, he's yours.
Yeah.
So how does she do that with other skills? It includes music, it includes being charming, and then inevitably it includes having sex. And so yes, there are some principles of what you do, there are some creative things that you can do, there are some dangers you must be careful of. And for those instructions, I depended on doing some research on what was reading pornography, actually, Chinese pornography from the 1700s, and finding out from pillow books what were the names of aphrodisiacs and things like that.
And I wanted to talk about the white tigress. And if you've read the book, you know what the white tigress is, but you know, it's a morning show. So instead, there's an excerpt here that I'm pretty sure, whether it's in the 1900s or until at this time of the day, it's still going to be relevant, so to speak. It's a trick. It says here, another trick is to ask your suitor to pluck a flower from your hair. Turn away from him as you attempt to flip it along the side by your ear. Then let it fall. In your hurry to retrieve the flower, you bend over, and the jacket that had barely covered your hips now lifts like a fog from the moon. We were laughing at that. Be sure he has a view of your rump for at least 3 seconds. When you stand and see his face, cover your mouth with the flower and laugh. Give the sly, happy look of mutual conspiracy. It's amazing that, I mean, since
I've never done that.
You've never done this. We were actually thinking of doing this. It seems like it's something very effective, and it's quite interesting. Since when you share with us your stories, you always incorporate something a bit about history.
Yeah.
So you get to picture it, and you know, you realize it seems like everything's just repeating itself somehow.
Yeah, there are many things. There's, for example, during this period, there were a lot of student demonstrations, student uprisings, and we see a parallel now with what's happening in Hong Kong. This whole thing about, you know, what a woman does, you know, do we still do any of those things? I wanted to set myself in that history. I need to be there so much that when I'm in the story, I need to be able to look to the side and be able to describe what I see. Need to walk out the door and know what the atmosphere is. Has the overthrow just happened, or is there some kind of tension happening? Is it the Spanish influenza? You know, we now have this big panic about Ebola. You know, so there are parallels that you see, and you can draw from the current events that are happening as I write about the past.
Now, recently, actually, in a way, you were able to somehow channel that courtesan part, in a sense that you were a dominatrix in a recent charity event, and you were like whipping Stephen King, right?
Well, it wasn't a recent.
What was that?
We have been doing this for nearly 23 years. So it started off early, but this is the Rock Bottom Remainders. It's a band. It consists of all authors, Stephen King, Daybreak, Mitch Albom, who was here recently, very conservative Mitch,
he actually mentioned
who
it
dresses like Elvis and plays the keyboard. Matt Groening, who created The Simpsons. So we have all these wonderful, respected authors, and we get up there and we're absolutely ridiculous. We say that our motto is 3 chords and an attitude, meaning we're not that great, musically. We're musically challenged, but we let the audience know we're all having a good time, and we're trying to let them in on having a good time with us. I have a terrible voice, a terrible singing voice, and I tried early on my first show picking songs where it would perhaps enable me to sound like I could sing. Gave that up and decided I would do comedy, and I sing. These boots are made for walking, and I wear a police cap. I wear cuffs, a collar, I wear black leather, and I have thigh-high boots, and I carry a whip. And at the end of my song, I say, "Are you ready, boys? Bend over." And then I whip them. You know, imagine they're standing there, they turn and they bend over, and I yell at them how bad they are. You missed your deadline, you know, you did this, you did that. And then I'm so it's all in fun.
All for fun.
All in fun. And to raise money for charity. We've raised about over $2 million for programs for kids literacy.
You have another advocacy as well. You have had this chronic illness that you've had for more than a decade now.
Lyme disease, which is a bacteria, very tricky bacteria to get rid of. And it comes from a tick bite. It's actually worldwide, and it's becoming more endemic to many places. But it was something I didn't know that I had for about 4.5 years. Things started to fall apart, aches, pains, arthritis, constant feeling of having the flu, and then my brain was affected. It went into my brain. I had a hard time thinking and remembering. I had a hard time remembering how to move even. I couldn't read, I couldn't write.
Because it's not easy to diagnose this, right?
Not easy. It should be, but it's not recognized as much as it should be. And so I thought my life had closed in, and I was going to be a person who was always going to be helpless in a way. And it wasn't until I found the answer of what it was that I was able to treat it. By then, it had done some permanent damage. I have my brain back. I can write, I can read, I have my memory. But I only say this so people know how serious it is. It left me with epilepsy, seizures. And those are controlled mostly. I can't drive, but I never like to drive. So I have a good chauffeur who's my husband. But it is a very serious illness. I came out of it, though, in the same way that Violet comes out of her hardship, and it's the idea that you have to persevere, and you can't let that be your fate. You have to find some other way to either continue to hope to find a cure, but also to take what you have and move forward.
And lastly, I'd just like to ask this final question. Here you wrote about how the editor and publisher was giving you like suggestions, and you said here that it helped, it was true to your intentions and what you had secretly hoped the book would be. What did you secretly hope the Valley of Amazement would bring to your readers?
What I always want with every book is that I have felt more deeply, that I have thought more deeply. I wanted to write a story about how we become who we are and how we can choose who we are. And my editor understood that, and he found a way to help show me, you know, where that was strong. I think he was shocked when, with the few things that he said, that what I gave back to him was a completely different book. He said, "I can't believe this. You've rewritten the book." I said, "I had to. You know, it was, my eyes were open and I knew what I had to write."
So here it is, The Valley of Amazement. I thoroughly enjoyed reading it, and I'm so happy to finally meet you in person and to get this chance to speak with you. Thank you so much once again, Amy.
Thank you.